Prabhu, I was not able to understand that message.
Sorry, Prabhu, that was for Raju Prabhu. Actually, we were trying to go live.
Okay.
Actually.
Okay, so today we are going through the second chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Divinity and Divine Service. So last week we came to know about the first chapter, isn't it? Today is the second chapter. And today we'll see the two questions answered by Sutta Goswami that was asked by Shaunaka Rishi and many other things. And I think I have sent one this thing screenshot in Krishna Sevak. So regarding the bhakti from Shraddha to Prema, which speaks about in this chapter. Now let us start. So here, the first verse. Ugrashrava Sutta Goswami, the son of Romarshana, being fully satisfied by the perfect questions, the Brahmanas thanked them and thus attempted to reply. After all the Shaunaka Rishis in the sense, the leader is Shaunaka, but there are around 60,000 rishis who are sitting there. So on behalf of all the rishis, he is asking the questions, and the 6 questions were asked in the first chapter. And Sutta Goswami is very happy by hearing it, because it is for the well-being of them, what I can say, the humanity. Like. So now he is very happy with it, and now he is going further, answer all the questions. And here the other name is said as Romarshana. Why is said as Romarshana? Means he's son of, it is said as son of Romarshana. Romarshana had a special mercy that he was entrusted the Puranas and this thing, all these knowledges. He was a special devotee where he was able to give this transcendental knowledge. But later part, because of some small mistake or some offense to the Supreme Lord, when Balaram came, he did not respect him, and Balaram, in his angry mood, he just cut off his head with a blade of grass. And finally, all the rishis were requesting Balaram. So he was been interested to say as this scriptures, but now he's not there. What should we do? And finally, Balaram said, okay, I'll get him back to the life. He said, no. When you punish someone, it shouldn't happen that you're taking it back. Rather, you can give the same mercy to his son. So the same mercy was transferred to his son, Sutta Goswami. So he was, what I can say, he was empowered by the Supreme Lord to narrate this stems of Srimad. That was the qualification of Sutta Goswami. Okay. Now, the second verse. Sri Sutta Goswami said, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto that great sage, Sukadeva Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. Sukadeva Goswami can enter the hearts of all. What do you mean by that? That means he was capable to understand the position of the living entity. What is the need of that person? So he was reciting in the same. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyasa, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread or the ceremonies observed by the higher caste, his father Vyasadeva, fearing separation from him, cried out, "O my son, indeed only the trees which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation echoed in response to the begraving father." So here it is said, no reformatory process was being observed to what I can say, Sukadeva Goswami, because there is what you call samskaras. So after birth, there should be done something. Before birth, it is Garbhadan Samskar, then Pumsavana, then Simanta. Then in this way, there's 16 types of, or 16 levels of samskaras. It has to be done to get purified ourselves. And that was not done. That is Upanayana. So he was not initiated, he was not done anything, and he was in a Brahman platform. He just left everything and he was renounced, and he was just moving. And his father, Vyasadeva, started chasing him or going behind him and calling for him, please come back, please come back. But he was renounced, and see, he was not getting attracted to anything. And even the sound which was Vyasadeva was saying, it was echoing, but even trees were speaking with him, but not Sukadeva Goswami. Then let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Shuka, spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadeva, who out of his great compassion for those great materialists who struggled to cross over the lackluster region of material existence, spoke this most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge after having personally assimilated it by experience. This is the most important thing. Here, Sukadeva Goswami is said as the spiritual master of all the sages, because the source of this Vedas, the source of all is Srimad Bhagavatam. It is the essence, and that has been narrated by Sukadeva Goswami. So how can he do that? Because he's experiencing the same. He was in the Brahman platform. In later part, after hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from his father, he came to a position where he was completely transcendental. It was so much so that he was attracting to the Lord's this thing. It was, what I can say, Bhagavatam is nothing but, even if you say 4 shlokas, it is Bhagavatam. You speak about the pastimes of Krishna and realized knowledge. And Sukadeva Goswami came to such a pure state where Lord revealed him everything, like he was speaking about the 4 Manvantaras, a day of Brahma, and previous to that also. Just imagine, it depends on the surrender of a living entity, or how far you are transcendental or dear to Krishna. Krishna reveals that much to our heart. So how much you surrender to the Lord, so much he reveals to us. And Shukadeva Goswami is the greatest of all, we can say. Actually, Vyasadeva has written all the scriptures, but here Shukadeva Goswami is beyond Vyasadeva, because he is more empowered than Vyasadeva, was able to reveal more. Okay, then before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God and Narayana, unto Naranarayana Rishi and the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Yeah. So before every day we do that, the Mangalacharan part we do, that is offering our prayers. So before entering the transcendental knowledge, taking the permission and offering our prayers and requesting that mercy upon us, so that we'll be able to understand. Here, Sutta Goswami is saying, first we have to offer our prayers to Supreme Lord Naranarayana Rishi, by whose mercy even Vyasadeva was able to do this, and Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. So because of her mercy here, Vyasadeva has been writing. So then finally to Vyasadeva. Okay. Then, O sage, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self. So we also have, our day starts with questions. Not only our day, even all the living entities, let it be birds, animals, everything, they start their day with questions. So where is my food? So where is my mate, or where is my shelter? Something like this. Just keeps on and on with questions. But what is the use of that questions? So it is very important when our questions are based on our eternity, our spirituality, or our constitutional position. Jivera Surupohai Krishnera Nityadas. Munaya Sadhu Prishtoham Bhavat Bher Lokamangalam Yat Krita Krishna Samprashno Yenatma Suprasiddhati. And this questions doesn't even, not only it's the person who's asking the question, it is because for the humanity, like this question, the answer of this question is benefited to all the living entities. So Sutta Goswami was very happy hearing the questions of Shaunaka. Okay. The supreme occupation, dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. The most important verse in the chapter. Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhakti radokshache ahaitukiya pratiyata yayatma suprasiddhati. The most important thing, what is the supreme occupation of a living entity? Or is dharma? Dharma is nothing but our responsibilities, our activities. So what is it? The main purpose of human life is not like animals, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. No, ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyatan pashubir naranam. Then will be equivalent to the animals. Dharme teshu adhiko visheshu dharme nahi na pashubhisana. We don't come beyond that. When he's not able to think beyond that, that is dharmic or the religious. So what is the purpose of my life? Why I've taken birth here? Then that becomes his real dharma. Clear? Real occupation. So then when he starts with unmotivated and uninterrupted, without any expectation and constantly without any interpretation or interruption, then that becomes pure devotional service, or that is the completeness of his life. So that is the perfection of a human being. And that's what here in this verse, Suta Goswami is saying. This is the most important, the supreme occupation of all the living entities. Then what is the purpose of human being if we don't perform this, or we don't observe our life as a human being, just living the life of an animal? That's what he is saying here. Then, by regarding devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment. This is like simultaneously happening. When you wanted to, have you seen the scale? And the weighting of the scale, there's something. When you start weighting for example, you have 1 kilo of weightage on the one side of the scale, and you just start dropping this grains or anything on the other side, automatically this goes up and the other part comes down. The same way, now we are completely immersed in this material world to satisfy our senses. But once we get engaged in the Lord's service, get more and more attraction towards the Lord's service, to the transcendental, to the spirituality, then we understand the purpose of human life. Then our detachment towards this material world starts. Then day by day we get detached to it, and more attraction toward the spirituality. This is the starting. Once you start in the right process under the shelter of a spiritual master, definitely everything will be revealed to us. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshayanti te jnanam jnaninas. So this, what I can say, the mysteries of this science, of this transcendental knowledge, will be revealed only when we surrender to a spiritual master. So just by reading the scriptures and these things, it's difficult to understand. But once we enter this, only that process happens by the guidance of spiritual master. Then, 7th it is said, Vasudeve Bhagavate Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Aso Vairagyam Jnanam Chayat Ahaitukam. Okay, causes knowledge and detachment when we take the shelter of the Supreme Lord. Then 8 to 15, only bhakti is to be gained through the performance of one's work. After understanding the brain duty of our human being, then most important thing is whatever we do in our life. So finally, it has to end in Krishna Prem, in Krishna consciousness. So whatever we do, whatever we eat, from the day it starts, when we wake up, it should be chant Hare Krishna. We prepared anything, it should be to offer to the Lord. In that way, whatever the activities, even if I go to the work, it's only to satisfy or to fulfill the desires of the Lord, to engage more and more in His service. I have to earn more so that I can serve Him better. In that way, the consciousness should be always Krishna consciousness. Okay, then here, Sutta Goswami is saying, Dharma swanishtita pumsam vishvakshena katasviha notpadayed yadi ratim shrama evahi kevalam. Once again read, Shrama evahi kevalam. It becomes waste. All of our activities becomes waste if it is not to our purpose of our life. The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position or only to so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality. What is the use? It is something animalistic, just earning, eating, mating, sleeping, something like that. It's of no use. So only human life's purpose is fulfilled when we progress towards this Krishna consciousness. Understand what is the purpose of human life and lead a life. Okay? All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification. So actually, sense gratification is binding us in this material world, not only for this lifetime, for millions of lifetimes. As we have millions of desires, to fulfill all the desires, then we have to take millions of lives. Then our real problem, what is our real problem? I hope you all understood it. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Birth, death, old age, and disease are our eternal problem in this material world. We cannot come out of it. When we have millions of desires, then we have to take millions of lifetimes to fulfill the desires. Then our sufferings becomes eternal. This is how it happens. Then, this is why it is saying the Bhagavatam is said as Amala Puranam. It is a spotless Purana. It gives us the pure bhakti. It takes us out from this material world. So our occupational services should be in such way that it never engages or involvement in our sense gratification. Rather, it said, Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktiruttama. When you start serving the senses of the Lord by our senses, that is the perfection of a human being. It is said, Rishikesha, Rishikena, to our senses. Then life's desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation. Since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth, nothing else should be the goal of one's works. See, before coming to Krishna consciousness, this was all unknown to us. We don't know what is the purpose of life. We were just leading a life of animal life. But now, after coming to Krishna consciousness also, we deal our life casually. We don't take it very seriously. And that means we are not up to our life. Like we are not serious on our duties. We are not completely matured or completely intelligent, because we don't know what is the purpose of human being. Then, see, sometimes unfortunate person is a person who doesn't come to Krishna consciousness. But the most unfortunate person is a person who is in Krishna consciousness, who has taken up this knowledge, has come to Krishna consciousness, and he is not serious in everything. It still thinks that material things are more important than the spiritual. That becomes a real disaster in his life. So Prabhupada says that the most unfortunate soul is a person who comes to Krishna consciousness and moves. Okay, then next to the 11th, how to understand the Lord in the 11th. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabhyate. The three ways of understanding. It is Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. I think we have discussed this previously. So depending on our maturity of our knowledge, we will be able to understand the Supreme Lord. Understanding the Lord as a light, understanding him. See, the Jnana is realize the Lord to be Brahman. That is a light. So I should merge into that light. That is his ultimate understanding or realization. But a yogi realizes that Lord is within the heart. He starts meditating on him. Yama, niyama, hasana, pranayama, pratyara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. But it is only a pure devotee who understands the complete level or the complete realization in spirituality, that is Bhagavan realization. Clear? Then the 12th year Sutta Goswami sing. Yachadadana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya pashyanti atmani chatmanam bhaktya shruta grihitaya. So process to realize absolute truth. The seriously inquisitive sage, equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes absolute truth by devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Sutra, what he has heard from the scriptures through the help of the realized soul or the spiritual master. Then he tries to understand in that way. Clear? Yes. Then the 13th. O best among the wise born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to the caste division or orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. That is Varnashrama Dharma. So there are 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. I hope you all know that. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. This is 4 Varnas and 4 Ashramas. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. So all this Varnashrama process is to make us to come to the ultimate level, that is in Krishna consciousness, to be a pure devotee of. So the process of material thing also, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, that is also the Purusharthas. So here subtly everything speaks about the Supreme Lord. Because of our ignorance, we may not be able to realize that, and we think, oh, all scriptures, all this thing is only for the sense gratification. Especially we take the Karma Kandya section that, oh, I should do this yajna, I should do this this thing, observing this Ekadashi, that, this, everything for our better sense gratification. So that let us go to heaven, so we'll be able to enjoy more. This is our immature state of understanding. So we want to enjoy more and more, and we don't know that we'll be getting more and more binded in this material world for millions and millions of lifetimes. So when we come across a great devotee, that is why it is said, Lavamatra sadhusam, sarva siddhi hoy. Lavamatra sadhu sangat sarva siddhi hoy. So when we come across a pure devotee, then we understand the purpose of it. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita it said, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Picha. The most fortunate soul is a person who gets the mercy of a spiritual master in Krishna, and where a devotional seed has been sprouted in from his. Clear? Yes. Now here Sutta Goswami is saying, Tasmadekena manasa Bhagavan Sattvatam Patihi Shrotavya Krititavyascha Dheya Pujyascha Nityayada. By any means, focus on devotional service, hearing, glorifying, remembering, and worshipping. It's very clear. By any means, in those days, the what I can say, the method of living itself was in such a way that they were always attracted towards the Lord. In those days, it was only thing mornings and evenings they were giving this, what I can say, discourse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramayana or something like this. So that was their life source. That is how they thought that this is how our life becomes perfection. And this is how we learn, we get educated. But today we are completely towards material. We admit our, take the admission in the schools for our children. What are they teaching? It's completely material, nothing for us. We are not this body, first point. All our education is only for our sense gratification to our body. What is the purpose of human life then? We can be as dogs and cats. Why should we study so much for this? Isn't it? No elephant or a tiger or a deer is getting any graduation to eat, sleep, mate, and defend, isn't it? It's only fools like we, the human beings, is studying everything only for the purpose of fulfilling the needs of this body. Actually, this whole has been provided. Krishna has provided everything for our taking care of our body. My prime duty is to just go back from this to the spiritual world, from this material world. So what is the process? Understanding this is the human purpose of this human life. We don't utilize in a proper way, definitely. Krishna takes back this material or a human body, and finally we'll take the next as some animal, because our prime duty was to satisfy senses. In that way, my mind. Next here, so the Goswami is saying, Yat anudyasina yukta karma granti nibadhanam chindanti kovidastasya ona kuryat tatharatam. What happened? Here, Sutta Goswami is saying, glories to Lord's message. With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, that is karma, by remembering the personality of head. This is a karma. Doing all our activities, keeping Krishna in our center. When we are not, and see, devotee is an expert in this. How much we surrender to Krishna or how much we depend to Krishna, so much we'll be able to realize this. So much we'll be able to keep Krishna in front center of our life. If we are not so intelligent or we are not so much surrendered to the Lord, so Krishna will not give that much of mercy to us. So that much we may not be able to do that. See, finally it is Krishna who is giving the, let's say, intelligence to us. He gives the intelligence based on our surrender. How much I surrender to him, so much he gives the intelligence to me. A person who is completely surrendering to Krishna is surrendering more and more. He gives the intelligence so much, and so that we'll be able to understand completely what is the purpose of this human life. But our steps should be little. Our process should be a little serious. Yes, we have taken this Krishna consciousness. Now, how to make it multiple or make it more and more, engage more and more in our life. Okay, and here in the 16 to 21, it is bhakti progression. So how to progress in this bhakti? What I can say, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 6 verses speaks about the 9 processes of bhakti or the 9 levels of bhakti. Here, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangan, Bhajani Kriya, the 3 levels. In this verse, Sutta Goswami says, Shushushu Shraddha Danasya Vasudeva Kataruche Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. Yeah. Or wise born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. So how much are we serving the devotees? And sorry to say this, there's no use in serving Krishna. There is no use in serving Krishna before serving a devotee. We should have the mercy of a devotee. That's why we need always Vaishnava Seva is the prime. Devotee service is more important than serving the Supreme Lord, because we get the qualification to serve the Lord by serving the devotees. As for example, when you want to be a material example we can take. So when you wanted to become a high class in some position, so you should know you should be a manager. Think you are a manager. Then you should know the other duties or the work that your subordinates are doing. That means you have crossed all the levels. Then you come to that position. Isn't it? The same way, to serve the Supreme Lord, we should have that qualities. And that qualities we get by serving the devotees. By serving the devotees, we acquire the knowledge, we'll come to know how to serve the Lord, and finally we'll be able to serve the Supreme Lord. Clear? It is Shraddha, that is the faith, then Sadhu Sangha, devotee association, then finally the third is Bhajana Kriya. That is devotional service. And in the 17th verse, it is Anartha Nivritti. Anartha Nivritti means the contaminations that we are acquired in this material world starts vanishing from us once we engage in the Lord's service. Shrunvatam swa kata Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hrudayantasto badrani vidunoti suhrutsatam. The heart gets purified, starts purification process, because we are serving the Supreme Lord. Just the Krishna Katha, Shrunvatam swa kata Krishna, just hearing the pastimes of Krishna our heart gets purified. Clear? And when the purification process starts, then we get this nistha. Nistha means more involvement in our devotional service. Two effects of regular Bhagavata Seva destroys all anarthas. Gradually, loving service is established as an irrevocable fact. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतः सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिके. Continuous Bhagavata Sevya, that's always engaging, immersed in the transcendental subject matter of this Srimad Bhagavatam, destroys all our anarthas, and we get qualified to become or to take the Prema Bhakti or Krishna Prema to the pure transcendental level just by being a, what I can say, attentive hearer. So always we request to turn on the videos. That itself is sufficient to make us perfect. Clear? And 90th, that is Ruchi and Asakti. And this levels I have posted in the group. You can see this. 19th, as soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness and he becomes completely happy. So this is the process. This is how we might be able to progress in our life. Otherwise, no. We are having all the three modes in us and always agitated by our sense objects. We cannot. We actually, I can say, shouldn't be more and more attracted to this material world. Actually, now what is happening? We are agitated by the sense objects. Whatever we see, we want to gratify it. And we think it is for my sense gratification. So in that way, we get more and more engaged in this material world, more and more attracted to this material world. But once we take up this devotional service, we'll understand the purpose of life and we become more and more detached to this material world. We will be able to understand this. Any product we see, oh, this is the source of my sorrow. For example, a mobile. We'll be able to understand. In the very beginning, how do we understand? Once again, on class English class. So, what I say? For example, we want to take this mobile. In the very beginning, we think, what is this? What I can say about this mobile? We start reading this. What is the camera friction, or what is this? How many GB storage is there? How good is it? We think this is the source of my happiness, isn't it? But once you enter the spiritual life, once you have the real knowledge, you'll understand this is a source of my sorrow. Once you purchase this mobile, what happens? You're spending somewhere around 30, 40K or something for this one mobile. As soon as you purchase this, you'll be very happy with it. But just in a span of time of 1 month or 2 months, in the market, there's another better, what I can say, mobile. For example, this camera is for 64 megapixel. You think this is the best now. Later, but after a few days, you'll get 108 pixels, 80 pixels, something. Oh, that phone is better than this phone. The same phone gives sorrow to us. Always seeing this phone, we get disturbed. I should have been waited for some more time so that I might have been got a better phone. In that way, this becomes a source of the sorrow. That's why Bhagavad Gita says, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkhayo naya yevate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramata buddha. An intelligent person will not get more involved into this sense gratification because he understands that the ultimate result of this sense objects is only sorrow. That is how it has been created. Dukkalayam ashashvatam. This material world is created to experience sorrow, not happiness. Then any object that we take, it gives only sorrow. Ultimately, it ends it. And now many will be thinking, nothing like that. No, I'm happy now. I'm happy in this material world. Because in the ignorant state, for example, a pig eats hog. And it is very much happy with it. Isn't it? Yes, because of the ignorance. The same ignorance we have. So we think that this material world is happy. Clear? Now let us go further. This 20th, Bhava and Prema. See, let me go this side. Two effects after being established in pure goodness. That is, mind is enlivened by devotional service, then gains positive scientific knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Once we come to this level, then we'll be able to see the reality. We'll get the divine vision to see the material things, how it is binding me. Now we don't have so much of knowledge, so we cannot do it. But then when we come to the spirituality, we take up this Krishna consciousness, progress more and more towards it, then our eyes becomes very clear. We'll have this Divya Chakshu, we say. Something, for example, I'm wearing this glass. If I remove this glass, everything will be blurring. I cannot see properly. I have eyesight. Okay. When you have this glass, that is spiritual glass. I'll be able to see the material world. Now, what I'm saying is, it is the source of happiness I'm thinking because of my illusion. Once I wear this glass, I'll be able to see that, oh, this is a source of my sorrow. The reality has been visioned by the vision of this divine or the spiritual vision. This is how we start progressing in our life. And in 21st verse, liberation from fruity bondage and perfect enlightenment. In 22nd, Ato vai kavayo nityam bhaktim paramaya mudha vasudeve bhagavate kurvanti atma prasadanim. Certainly, therefore, since time immemorial, all transcendentalists have been rendering devotional service to Lord Krishna, the Personality of Godhead, with great delight, because such devotional service is enlivened to the self. Just only by devotional service will be able to understand who am I and what is the prime duty. Mute. Somebody has, sorry, mute. Now, 23 to 29, Lord Krishna in relation to his various expansions, the questions that was asked by Sutta Goswami. Now here, some of that, here, Saunika Rishis, now Sutta Goswami is revealing it. Now, in the previous section, glory of Bhakti is defined. In this section, glory of Bhagavan as the topmost object of worship is established. In this verse, we can see Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. For the 23rd verse, the transcendental personality of Godhead is indirectly associated with the three modes of material nature, namely passion, goodness, and ignorance. And just for the material world's creation, maintenance, and destruction, he accepts the three qualitative forms of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Of these three, all human beings can derive ultimate benefit from Vishnu, the form of the quality of goodness. Okay? So he is representing the three modes. Actually, there are many avatars. There's Leela Avatara, Guna Avatara, Purusha Avatara, and this is Guna Avatara. It is the Supreme Lord who expands himself as Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu. And sometimes what happens, when we have a qualified devotee, he gives the position of Brahma to him. He gives the position of Brahma to him. And now, for this Manvantara, or for this thing, we have Brahma, who is a living entity. And sometimes can be even the Supreme Lord is expanding himself as Brahma. Clear? Then 24th, fire is a transformation of earth, but smoke is better than the raw wood. And fire is still better, for by fire can derive the benefits of superior knowledge through Vedic sacrifices. Similarly, passion, rajas, is better than ignorance, tamas, but goodness, sattva, is best because by goodness one can come to realize the absolute truth. Till then, see, ignorance is nothing but laziness, which makes us more engaged in this material world. And passion is a thing where it agitates us for our sense gratification. Sometimes we experience good and bad in this. And in ignorance, nothing can such kind of experience do we have. Always intoxicated way. Like then this Sattva Guna, when we come to this Sattva Guna, we'll be able to see the reality of this material world. And when we come to pure Sattva, that is Shuddha Sattva, or the pure goodness, we'll be able to reveal that Krishna in all, each and everything. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmani Gavayastani Shuni Chaiva Chapake Cha Pandita Samadarshina. See, this is the levels of our vision. When we come to complete Krishna consciousness, now we see every product as our sense gratification. Then we see that everything is the source of sorrow. All the sense objects is a source for my sorrow. Then we'll be able to see Krishna in it. Then everything we take, that is devotional service. We engage in all our activities. You can see any ISKCON devotees engages in all the activities, but center is Krishna. He does everything with satisfaction of Krishna. That is what the teachings of Srila Prabhupada, which becomes so natural. That is why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktya mama vijanati yavanyasmi tattvata. Only a devotee can understand the duties of a human being, or only a devotee can understand Bhagavad Gita and preach to others. He can give the life to us. He is not taking something from our life. Rather, he is making our life complete. We are not away from the sense gratification. We are engaging in sense gratification, keeping Krishna in the middle. Rather, we satisfy the senses of Krishna. Through him, we are also getting satisfied. So it is said in Kannada, Atmada Ananda Paramatmana Seve. When we start serving the Supreme Lord or the Super Soul, automatically that is the source of my happiness. If I start serving him, I become happy. This is how we achieve this happiness. This is eternal happiness. Clear? Previously, all the great sages rendered service unto the personality of God due to his existence above the three modes of material nature. They worshipped him to become free from material conditions and thus derive the ultimate benefit. Whoever follows such great authorities is also eligible for liberation from the Mahajanayana Gata Sappanta. When we certainly follow in the footsteps of the great souls, we achieve it. As Prabhupada gives the example of a mechanic. A person who is working in a mechanic shed, when a car comes, when it is not working properly, the mechanic says to that boy who doesn't know anything about a car, he says that remove the bonnet, take out that wire, put it here, that, many things. And he does it. And the car starts. He did not know anything about car, but the result was the same. The same way, even we don't know anything about our life, about scriptural knowledge, nothing. Just following the great souls, just following the instructions of Srila Prabhupada is sufficient for us. It takes us to our ultimate goal, that is Krishna Prem or back to. Clear? Now from 26, 27, you can see the worship of other demigods. Those who are serious about liberation are certainly not envious, and they respect all. Yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions. That's why many times in the very beginning stage we don't come to Bhagavatam level, because Bhagavatam is a pure devotional service. Many times, many don't go to this demigod worship, Devata worship. In the very beginning, when we say this, it is very difficult to digest it, because that was our life. We are lived in that condition itself. For many people, giving up non-veg, it's a big sin, you know. It's a big sin in some certain families. Just giving up this non-veg. What kind of life they are leading, or what kind of level of knowledge they are. In so ignorant, and asking them, sometimes we are very feared. If we ask something, what will happen? They go from the basic Krishna conscious also. We say, you eat, you do whatever, you do all the sinful activities, at least you start chanting, we see. So here Bhagavatam is more beyond this. It says worship of demigods is a sin. How? Because worship of demigods is nothing for sense gratification. You worship them to requesting them. They are also pure devotees of Lord. Once you understand that, they are also pure devotees of Lord. You are requesting them to satisfy our senses. So it's actually a sin because we are binded in this material world. Oh, Bhagavatam, digesting Bhagavatam is not to everyone, you know. We should be pure souls. Otherwise, we offend this Bhagavatam and we just go away from this. We go away from Krishna conscious also. What is this? It is all speaking rubbish. It is not at all true in that way, because there is a story in Panchatantra one. No? One fox comes to eat the grapes, starts diving, jumping, and finally it will not get the grapes, and it concludes that this grapes are not sweet. Something like that. It concludes and goes. In that way, a person, something, he comes to Krishna consciousness, tries something, and finally says, hey, beyond his level of understanding or beyond his, he just gives up thinking that, oh, this is all rubbish. It is not for living it. Because we are so much immersed in this sense gratification. We think that is our prime duty to satisfy our senses. So many times Bhagavatam speaks the truth and we are not able to digest it to our limited intelligence. So we should come beyond that. Then somewhere Bhagavatam, not only stories, actually use the realization of the devotees. So in that way, this philosophical things becomes very hard to digest. But when you come to the story part, it will be happy. Okay, we are going somewhere in that stories. Those who are in the modes of passion and ignorance worship the forefathers, others living beings, and the demigods who are in the charge of cosmic activities, for they are urged by the desire to be materially benefited with woman, wealth, power, and forgiveness. So it is more degraded. This is how they wanted to satisfy woman, wealth, power. That's it. They don't have, see, when you are not matured or we don't have that knowledge, what do we think? So before coming to Krishna conscious, what was our need, or what was our, what I can say, devotion that we think? Asking for something. Why do we go to temples? Have a big list of our needs to be fulfilled. We go to the Lord. And sometimes many will ask, what is wrong in it? Sometimes we cannot say it is wrong also. And we say, yes, very good, very good. You carry on, you carry on. This is how we can come forward. Because we ask more and more, you depend more and more on the Lord. Then finally, somewhere we start realization, we are mingled with the devotees. So Krishna also says, and Sutta Goswami also says, so akama sarvakama moksha, I forgot that verse. Akamo sarvakamo va mokshakama udarade tivrena bhakti yogena yajate suhrat pradam, something it comes there. It is said, whether you have desires, whether you don't have desires, you wanted liberation, whatever might be your desire or a situation, just surrender to Krishna. Tivrena bhakti, involved in devotional service. Your desires will be fulfilled, you'll be purified from that level, and you'll come to the next level of consciousness. Clear? And it's 28 and 29. The essence of all processes is Vasudeva. Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakha, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriya, Vasudeva Param Jnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapa, Vasudeva Paro Dharmo, Vasudeva Paragati. And here Sutta Goswami is giving the ultimate knowledge. For all our needs, it is Vasudeva, the Supreme Lord Krishna. He is the source of all. All of our sense gratification, all of our needs, material, spiritual, whatever it might be, it is, the source is Krishna. Ultimate object of Vedas, Sri Krishna. Purpose of sacrifice to please him. Yoga for realizing him. Fruitive activities rewarded by him only. He is supreme knowledge. Austerities are performed to know him. Religion, dharma, is loving service to him. He is the supreme goal. Since many times we read this verse, we take this, understand, after going further, we forget everything. Ultimately, we think, I am the product of this material world. I am this body. My prime duty is to satisfy my senses. This is our ignorance. That's why we should be more and more with the devotees, associate more and more with the devotees. Being always with this materialist, we think, because Each and everyone surrendered to me in all directions is engaging in sense gratification. Who will I think that this is binding me? They are happy with it. I think even I should be happy with the sense gratification. This is how is the illusion, because we are not able to see the reality. No one is able to see that. Among them, even I am not able to see. So devotee association is, that's why many times, especially this English batch, I don't know why is this, I'm not able to make this. So Kannada batch at least was happening, and now we have offline. Yesterday I had gone to see LA Rampura, something near Shira, near this, what I can say, Gorvanur, something, Lakshmi temple there. So there was around 200, 300 children's. There was a Shibira they were conducting. There I had a program. So something like this. So somewhere we should have this association of devotees. So from there, Shira devotees, around more than 20, 25 devotees were gathered. So before that, we had a good kirtan, prasadam, gatherings, and so many things. So when you engage more and more with association, that is also happiness. With this, materially we are engaging, but it takes us to spiritual. So devotees association is more. Okay, now from the 30th verse, here Sutta Goswami speaks about the Purushavatars. In the beginning of the material creation, that absolute personality of God and Vasudeva, in his transcendental position, created the energies of cause and effect by his own internal, that is Mahavishnu, Karnodaya Kashaya Vishnu. I hope you all know this expansion. So Krishna was expanded to Balaram, and Balaram's expansion is Chaturvyuha, that is Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Anuruddha, and Vasudeva. And from that Sankarshana's expansion is Lord Narayana, who is the source of all Vaikuntha planets. It is Lord Narayana in all the innumerable Vaikuntha planets. Then from that Narayana, the expansion is second Chaturvyuha, that is Sankarshana, Pradyumna, Anuruddha, and Vasudeva. And from the second Sankarshana, that expansion is Mahavishnu. And from Mahavishnu, this material world starts. Here. So from this, from the vision, from the eyesight of Mahavishnu, this material world, Maya, gets impregnated. All the living entities are impregnated in this material. Okay. Then 31. After creating the material substance, the Lord Vasudeva expands himself and enters into it. That is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And although he is within the material modes of nature and appears to be one of the created beings, he is always fully enlivened in his transcendental position. Then once again he expands to Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. This Garbhodakshaya Vishnu or Mahavishnu, when he inhales and exhales, when he exhales from his pores of his body, there are innumerable planets come out. Planets or the universes come out. And that is all the universes are lifeless. And finally he expands as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and enters all the universes, which becomes the source of life. Clear. Then he starts creating, then he has creating all the planets, everything is lifeless. Then he expands himself as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu and he enters each and every atom. And it is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu who is our Paramatma. Clear? And it is Krishna. There is no difference. See, expansion, we think our material understanding is different. That's why I'm saying it is different, completely different. But spiritual understanding will be different. The words will be the same, but only the understanding is different. For example, for a kid or someone, when he is seeing about the 7 colors or something, always you show this is red color. To say this is blue, this is blue, this is blue. And for a person in a group of people, you speak about something red color, his imagination will be blue. Or you say blue, because he's seeing this red as blue, he'll be thinking, oh, this is the color of red. Oh, understood. So we are always engaging in material things. So whatever the spiritual words we hear, we think our understandings, our vision will be only material. We may not be able to understand spiritually. Till then, we don't purify our consciousness. Here, expansion is nothing but expansion. Krishna and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, there is no difference. Both are same. So that is why it said always Krishna is in our heart. And actually it is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Clear? Yes. Next, the second. The Lord, as Super Soul, pervades all things, just as fire permits wood. And so he appears to be of many varieties, though he is the absolute one without a second. So as Super Soul, he just pervades the whole world, even a single atom is without the presence of the Lord. And he actually is the Paramatma of the universe. That means anything happens in us, as for example, now my body is with consciousness. Without life and with life, you should understand a dead body and a living body. Living body, the difference between a dead body and a living body is the consciousness, isn't it? So, for example, something happens to our hair, we could feel that. And something happens at my toe, I could feel that. That is consciousness, is pervaded the whole body. Whatever is happening in my body, I'm able to realize it. The same way, the Garbhodakshai Vishnu is the Paramatma of this, or is the soul of all this universe. Anything happens in this material world, anything happens in any planet, will be able to realize. It's all. Yeah. Yes. The super soul enters into the bodies of the created beings who are influenced by the modes of material nature and causes them to enjoy the effects of these modes by the subtle mind. And our happiness, our enjoyment, sense gratification is also been provided by the Lord. Without his presence, we cannot do anything. The tongue taste is because of Lord's mercy. The eyesight, because of the Lord's mercy. The ears that we hear is because of Lord's mercy. The source of everything is Lord's mercy. Or else I may not be able to taste. Clear? That is the source. That means he is the source of all. If we go more depth in it, we'll be able to understand more, but I don't go. Because how far, I don't know, we're able to digest this kind of thing. It takes time as we have to get purified. First thing, we have to chant in Brahma Murta time. In the mornings, once we start take our life more seriously in the spiritual life, start chanting in Brahma Murta time and involve more and more in devotional service, associate more and more with the devotees, then we might be able to come to a state of digesting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Amalapura. Completely speaks about devotional service, nothing about sense gratification. Okay. Thus, the Lord of the universes maintains all planets inhabited by demigods, men and lower animals. Assuming the role of incarnations, he performs pastimes to reclaim those in the mode of pure. This way, in all the gunas, he comes, he does his avataras, he does everything, many things, because he wants to fulfill the desires of the people who are in, what I can say, Rajoguna and Tamoguna. And he does this pastimes because he wants to reclaim his devotees, give him the attraction towards the spirituality, and attract him towards the Vaikuntha lokas or the spiritual. As Lord takes many incarnations. And we know only few. We know about Narasimha Avatar, Kurma Avatar, or something like this. But there are innumerable avatars, and it is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, somewhere it will come to you, 84 lakh species. We have 84 lakh species, and we have the incarnation of the Lord in all the varieties of 84 lakh species. Narasimha, we say it as lion, and in Kurma, we say it as tortoise. In Varaha, we say it as pig. No, Lord is coming even as pig also, I think. No, he comes in all the forms because he is the father of all the living entities. Okay, so that is today's chapter 2. And from the next week, we'll see about Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Okay, probably let us see if possible next week we'll speak something about Lord Narasimhadev because we are nearing to Narasimha Chaturdashi, which is on 4th. This is my plan. Let's see how Lord wishes it happens. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Now, any questions? You can raise them. Yes, Prabhuji.
If there any question, dear devotees, so you can raise your hand. And like Prabhuji said, on 4th of May, that's next Thursday, is where we have Narsimha Chaturdashi. So we have a full day event at HBR temple. So those who are close by, and in fact, if you are far, if you can plan, we understand it's a working day, but if you can plan ahead and then be present there, that would be a great visual for all of you. And there will be events throughout the day. I'm pretty sure you would be happy attending all of them. Hare Krishna. And if there are any questions, you can raise your hands, dear devotees. Looks like there are no questions, Prabhuji.
No questions. They are still not come out of that this thing. Okay, have you all understood what was today's chapter? And see here, this English this is what little bit discouraging me. Nobody is turning on their videos. I'm something like speaking to a wall, only with few members reciprocating sound. We need everyone to turn on the video so that I can see you and I can know what I can say. See, we are all materialistic, isn't it? So we need some result oriented. Without results, we feel nothing of use. So we are result oriented. We are not to that platform. Anything karmanyavadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana. Ma karma phala hetur matesam. No results. Start serving. We are not in that platform. We need some results to be seen. So if somebody is sitting in front of me, we'll be happy. Oh, so many are there. We'll be serious. That. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So yeah.